today we are going to do a little bit of butchery. Now what I've got here is another one of those fantastic orchard pigs, and what I've already done is I've cut these into the primals. As you can see, you've got the leg, you've got the loin and the shoulder. Well, I've already got a video for the shoulder and the leg, but what I want to concentrate on today is to show you how to deal with a whole loin of pork. Now obviously you get fantastic roasting joints off this, or your chops, your ribs and your belly. You've got your kidney and your tenderloin. There are so many different ways to tackle this. There's so many different cuts you can get off it. One butcher will cut it one way, one butcher another way, but I'm going to show you the way I do it. The first thing we're going to do then is we're going to separate our belly from our loin. So as most of you will recognise then, there's your eye of your meat. A lovely covering of fat is what you always want with your pork. And obviously we're just going to trim that belly off, so we're left with that whole loin or rack of chops, whatever you want to call it. So what I'm doing, if you get your loin, you just mark about half of the width of the eye, and then knife in, and then we join that up, and then we saw through that. Just move that out of the way. Nice sharp knife as always, straight through. And that gives you that fantastic belly. In America, I know a lot of you guys, you make that into bacon. We do here as well, but we really like to roast that as a joint. And so you're left with this lovely loin. Now, two kinds of chops on this. You've got the end, which you can keep your tenderloin in, your fillet, which I'm just exposing now, which is a great joint, can be cooked real quick. You can leave those on, which will give you your T-bones, I suppose. What I like to do, I'm just going to nip that out. So down the bone, just gently peel with one hand, cut with the other. We're left that fantastic tenderloin. So what I like to do then is I like to keep the loin end whole, so I might stake that. So where those ribs end, you can count them. You can see just on that tip, just cut in one straight line down, and we just saw through that quickly. And that, you could leave it on the bone, cut it in half I suppose, and have two nice loin joints on the bone. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to bone that out. I'm going to make some steaks. So basically, just get your knife right under that bone. Just follow it. There you have your boneless loin end. Now with my rib end, I want to do pork chops. Now, the traditional way, to show you, you would cut in between the ribs, get the old chopper out, straight through, and that would give you a lovely pork chop. What I like to do is get rid of that backbone. So very gently, you can see this, just going to chine that backbone, just as you can hear it change pitch, just going in to the flesh. Then I'm going to peel that bone away. And you'll see why I'm doing this in a minute. So you just push with the one hand, gently down with the other. Obviously you don't waste these bones, these will go into stock. And you're left with chops that look like that. That backbone's gone, it's just that lovely rib bone left in. So just nip through these, nice and thick. If you're going to have a pork chop, have a pork chop. Lovely covering of fat. That is a proper English pork chop. So you can see then, with a little care and a bit of patience and a little bit of know-how, that's how your chop would look with the backbone out. They look like that. Now that is a fantastic product. Right, onto that loin end. We're going to take the skin off and we're going to steak them. So our loin end then, what I do basically is I'm just going to peel back the skin, and I shall make some pork scratchings out of them, because if you're going to fry these quickly, that skin would be a hindrance. So I've just nipped it off, and all you do, again, steak knife, leaving that fat on definitely, nice, a little bit thinner so you can flash fry these. That's a real quick meal. So far then, out of that loin, we got our lovely loin steaks, our fantastic pork chops, and our skin for crackling. Next, we should go on to the belly. Just put that fillet there, just because we can. Right, people who know me know this is one of my favourite cuts. First of all, we're going to get the joint off. The first few bones as a joint is fantastic. There's a little cartilage there. We're just going to peel that back, because we want to be cutting these in between the ribs, keep it nice and clean. Just show you that. So we turn it side on. I'm going to square that up. That trim can go into sausage. And I'm going to cut me decent sized joint. Now that is a corking joint. If you go onto my meat playlist, you see how to cook belly pork. Crispy, nice skin, almost pulls apart. You cannot beat this joint. I'm just scoring it ready for the oven, and that's one joint sorted. The wasp killer. Look at that, beautiful. Anyway, first thing I'm going to do then, with this belly that's left, I've just put a nick in there. This is your flare fat, loved by charcutiers, fantastic in pâtés, terrines, sausages. So that to the pile there. Several things we can do with this. Just trim that meat up. What I'm going to do, first thing, is take the bone out. So just knife right up against. And you're left little rack of ribs. So anybody watching this would know that would make fantastic bacon, and the beauty of a belly pork, it's made up with 5 layers of fat and meat. You can see, and they've all got a different texture, but cooked together, amazing. First thing then, we trim that fatty belly end off. That, just like filleting a fish. Start your knife, hold, wiggle, there's your trim. So the belly, it loves to be stuffed. You stuff that, roll it, tie it, or you can cut it in strips. What I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to score it ready, and I'm going to tie it up and get a couple of belly pork joints. I mean, please check out my how to butcher a pig video. You know, it is one of the most watched on YouTube, which I'm really thankful for. Seems really popular. But I decided to do this little series just to break down the major cuts, because obviously doing the whole pig, you know, I concentrated on the whole thing, but I've broke it down into primals now. So I shall tie this off. So I've got a video for tying butcher's knots. Simple, he says. Just gonna first of all space them out quite wide apart. Pull it tight, because when you tie a joint it pulls everything nice into the same shape so it cooks evenly. So that's my belly roll then. So all I like to do, as you know, is just square off the ends. Always a good habit to get into, it looks nicer. And then straight in half. That gives you 2 rolled pork belly joints. So that's it then. That's how you deal with a whole loin of pork, and just look what we got off it. We got those chops, our crackling, that lovely flare fat which we will use in a terrine, or you could just render that down and have some lovely pork dripping. Got that fantastic fillet, the tenderloin, our boneless loin steaks, our 2 rolled boneless belly joints, my favourite. I mean, just look at that. Hey, who needs leg of pork and shoulder when you really have got pork like that? Our rack of ribs, and just to finish off, guess what's missing? Pig's kidney. And that is how to butcher a whole loin of pork. So like I've said then, please check out my how to butcher a whole pig video. Obviously how to butcher a shoulder of pork and how to butcher a leg, and now you know how to do a loin. So if you've got any questions to ask me, please follow me on Twitter at TheScottReaProject. Look at there, and I'll answer them if I can. So thanks again, see you soon.